expensive.
Yeah, so have some cash.
It was good.
Was that the first guy? Oh, I don't know. When you don't say
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Oak Creek Community United Methodist Church. I am Pastor Heidi, and we are really excited that you are here tonight for a second time showing or a performance by Daryl Mosley. We had him last year and just enjoyed him so much we decided we needed him back. So I'm glad you came out tonight for the concert. So he's going to play some music. We'll have an intermission, and then we'll have a little bit more music. He does have a merchandise table. I'm sure most of you have seen that already. One new item that I'm gonna highlight just because I think it's pretty cool. He has a new 365 daily devotional available. And each one of the songs, or each one of the devotions actually connects with words in one of his songs, which is pretty awesome because he is a very talented musician, very talented songwriter. So we are really happy to have him here. Let's bow our heads and have a word of prayer before we begin this evening. Loving and gracious God, we know that all things come from you. We thank you, Lord, for the gift of music. We thank you for the gift that Daryl is going to be sharing with us this evening. We thank you for the gift of warmth and protection from the weather and for the gift of those around us. Bless us this evening, Lord, with your presence. May we feel your spirit moving within and around us, and may we just be joyful in the fact that we get to be here for the next hour and a half or two and just enjoying being with you. We pray all these things in your wonderful and holy name. Amen. I'd like to introduce you to Daryl Mosley. He is a 3-time singer-songwriter of the year, author of more than a dozen, I believe, #1 songs. So welcome, Daryl Mosley.
Well, good evening to you. Good evening. It's great to be back with you. I appreciate the opportunity to be back up this way. It's been a little while since I've been up here. It's a beautiful day, beautiful drive. Nice little parking lot there in Chicago, but other than that, it wasn't bad. But it's been about a year, I think, since I was here. I'm just kind of curious. Anybody seen me for the very first time? Never seen me before tonight? Several of you. Okay, all right. Anybody seen me for the last time? Go ahead and raise your hand. Got check. Well, I actually grew up in the little town of Waverly, Tennessee. Waverly is about an hour west of Nashville and about an hour south of nowhere. You know, it's just a little small place. But I grew up there, grew up singing in church and dreaming of a music career. And, not knowing if that was going to happen or not, I just knew that's what I wanted. But I've been blessed for a lot of years now to be able to travel and tour and sing and record and play places like the Grand Ole Opry and the Bluebird and television and all of that. But more than anything else, I'm just a songwriter. I've been able to write songs for a lot of years, and so these days I do about 150 concerts a year, just me and guitar and sharing some of the songs I've written over the years and the stories behind them, and that's what I'll do tonight. So I'm a lover of story songs, so you're going to get a good dose of story songs tonight. More than anything else, I hope I bring back a memory or two, maybe something you hadn't thought about in a while, and just take you on a little journey of my life and your life too. This old pickup truck sure ain't much to look at. The rust and the miles are showing through, but every day gets me where I'm going. The road's just like if it were brand new. This house of mine ain't much more than a cottage, always stays in need of repair. But inside are the ones I love so dearly, who make me feel like I'm in the air. And I'm thankful I've been so richly blessed with more than I deserve, when so many have much less. Thankful for the things we sometimes miss, like health and time and friendship, love and happiness. And when I count my blessings, I lose track. Well, there's no way I could ever pay it back, but I'm thankful. Are you thankful this evening? Yeah. I try so hard not to take for granted the very things that I treasure most, and lose sight of the blessings I've been given, and all the gifts that I've been bestowed, because there are so many with so little, and they look at me and think I've got it made. Oh, I'm covered up with all that really matters, so I bow my head, quietly I pray. I am thankful I've been so richly blessed with more than I deserve, when so many have much less. Thankful for the things we sometimes miss, like health and time and friendship, love and happiness. And when I count my blessings, I lose track. Oh, there's no way I could ever pay it back, but I'm thankful. I am thankful. When I first started dreaming about a music career, I didn't really understand what that even meant. I just knew that I couldn't really remember a time when I wasn't listening to artists and songwriters and trying to figure out, what they were saying to me, what I was supposed to learn from this. And so I started started the journey not realizing the journey was coming. You know, I oftentimes walking with the Lord is a lot like putting together a jigsaw puzzle. And He's got the box top. You know, all we get is a puzzle piece at a time. You know, sometimes it's not even an edge piece. You know, sometimes you're not sure which way to twist that thing. You give it enough time and some patience and start stringing enough of those pieces together, and that picture that He could see all along starts taking shape. And that's certainly how it was for me. I started out singing in church. Don't remember not singing, so I'd sing with my mom a little bit. She played and sang. When I was about 13, I started learning to play guitar, and so I could accompany myself. And when I was about 16, I had lived my whole life about 5 miles from where Miss Loretta Lynn lived. I knew Miss Loretta well. In fact, her twins, Peggy and Patsy, we were in first grade together. That's how far back we go. And Miss Loretta was always great to me. I mean, here I was this teenage kid dreaming of a music career, and she was, you know, the biggest thing in music. But she would take time to sit down with me and talk to me about the music industry and some of the things I need to learn, pitfalls I need to watch out for. She's the very first one that pointed me to songwriting. I'll never forget that conversation. She said, "Darling, you won't have to learn to write." She said, "A lot of folks can sing them, but the good ones can write them too." And so at her encouragement, I started trying to figure out how you do that. How do you make up a song? And it's been a lifelong process of learning to kind of keep that little invisible radar open, you know, listening for things that seem like they ought to be a song. I wrote this one not long after my dad passed away, just to kind of honor him. And radio played this quite a bit. You may know this one, but I'll share it with you. Fishing in the day till late in the day, the sun sank deep in the sky. We cut through the woods, it was scary and dark, and I tried hard not to cry. Daddy, what if there's a snake or a bear? What if there's things I can't see? And Daddy just smiled, said, "Son, you'll be fine. Just walk and stay close to me." He said, "Just follow me, 'cause I know the way, and you would be lost on your own. Keep me inside, you'll be alright, and I'll lead you all the way home." Sitting in church, singing just as I am, but this time it's more than a song. The preacher said I must give Jesus my heart if I want to make heaven my home. Well, I said, "Lord, what if I still make mistakes? Sometimes I don't read or pray." Then a sweet wave of peace went right over me. He said, "I'll be there each step of the way." He said, "Just follow me, 'cause I am the way, and you would be lost on your own. Keep me inside, you'll be alright, and I'll lead you all the way home. Oh, I'll lead you all the way home." first started getting serious about songwriting, I found myself playing in a bluegrass band. Now, being raised in Tennessee, I was raised up around bluegrass music, but I never really listened to that much of it. You know, Mama listened to gospel music, Daddy loved country music, and so I just hadn't heard a lot of it. But now all of a sudden I'm in one, you know, and so I started listening to these other bands and these songs and trying to figure out how to write a song that sounded like one of theirs that my band could record. My first attempt at writing a bluegrass song was a song called "The Scenery Never Changes When You Plow Behind the Mule." Worst song ever written. I wrote it. But fortunately, the Lord placed in my path yet another puzzle piece, and a gentleman by the name of Larry Shell. Larry is a well-known songwriter in Nashville, written lots of hit songs for Reba and different people, and he just kind of took up with me, and he used to just let me show up at his office and sit down and sing whatever song I've been trying to write. You know, he would tell me what worked and what didn't, and why most of it didn't. But you know, he never made a dime off me. He never intended to. He just saw this young guy trying to get better at the craft and just invested in me. I've been able a number of times over the years to be able to do that same thing to a young up-and-coming songwriter, and I do that in large part as a thank you to Larry Shell for doing that for me, because I know how important it was. And I learned a lot sitting in Larry's office, but one of the things he said, you know, Daryl, the best advice I can give you is to write what you know. Write about the things that matter to you, the things that you are passionate about. And that changed my whole career, changed everything, because that's all I've ever done since then, is I write about the little town I grew up in, and the little church I grew up in, and little towns and little churches like them all across the nation. You know, those are my people. Just every day, salt of the earth, go to work, go to church, love their families. Those are my folks, you know. And I've been blessed to be raised up around some really good folks, some real good men in my church, men in my family. My dad, certainly one of them, that made me a better person because of my relationship with them. And so I wrote this song kind of to honor them. And I have no doubt that there's some men here tonight sitting in this room that this song will apply to. But for the ladies, I just guarantee there'll be a man or men that will come to mind when you hear this song too. If you pass him without notice, in his muddy boots and jeans, blue collar and dirty fingernails, but he's the one you call on when it's got to be done right, and he shows up just as steady as a mail. He says the most important tools are elbow grease and sweat. Takes pride in the work he's called to do, and he believes in earning every dollar that you get, and he don't quit till the job's through. Oh, he's the last of his kind, a product of another time, when a man's word and a handshake said it all. He is honest, he is strong, what we built this country on, and we'll be less of a people when the last of him is gone. Oh, he's a reader of the Bible, he's a regular at church, and a reason for a solid family. If you ask for his opinion, you will get your money's worth, 'cause he's never been afraid to disagree. Oh, he's a reader by example, he's a patriot at heart, a singer every time the anthem plays, and his old school ways of living sure are getting hard to Well, that started me on the journey of finding songs where I live. And I've been able to do that for a long time. Songs are just everywhere. Stories are everywhere. And I always keep a running list of ideas and thoughts and memories. My little town hasn't changed a lot over the years. We're far enough from Nashville that it's not really convenient to live there and drive into the city every day. And some people still do it, but it's not super convenient. And so because of that, our town hasn't changed in the way that some of the suburbs change. You know, our little town still has an ice cream parlor on the Volkswagen. We've still got a one-screen movie theater. Still running movies every night like they've been doing since 1936. I mean, they played The Wizard of Oz the first time it come out. You know, think about that. It's just that kind of place. But we've lost a few things over the years. And there's a little grocery store that I remember as a kid. Man, I just used to love this little grocery store. Back in the days before the big box stores, these little stores were everywhere. And we had a bunch, but there was one in particular. It's about halfway between our house and my grandparents' house, called Hicks's Grocery. A little block building. It had one gas pump in the front. It had a screen door. And you could walk in that screen door, and if you looked right directly to the left, there was a big drink box with the Coca-Colas and the Great Beehives and the orange drinks. And you have to slide them out of that thing and pop the top off of it. You know, you remember them. You know, they sold a little bit of hardware and a little bit of farm supplies, and Mr. Hicks kept a spiral notebook under the cash register to keep up with the folks buying groceries on credit. That's high-tech bookkeeping right there, buddy. But of course, all the kids knew that if you walked in that screen door and turned the other way, Mr. Hicks had the most loaded down candy counter of any store in town. I mean, if Granddaddy gave you some candy money, that's a tough decision, you know. We'd have to start right at the top, you you rule out the lifesavers and the juicy fruit, you go start going down the list, of every candy bar you can think of. A lot of them they don't even make anymore, But he had candy bars and baseball cards and them little wax bottles with the juice inside. You remember them? Pixie sticks, Jawbreakers, Tootsie Rolls, Sugar Daddies, oh goodness, candy cigarettes and bubblegum cigars. That's what I remember. Being a kid stressful, we had to get a packet of candy cigarettes. But one day I'll never forget, I was with my dad, we were on the way home, and he noticed I had a piece of candy, and of course he knew I didn't have any money with me, and he took issue with that. So he turned his truck around and drove me right on back to Mr. Hicks's store and made this little fella go in there by myself and turn myself in. Boy, I didn't want to do it, but I did. And all these years later, I remember every detail of that whole experience. It made an impression on me I never forgot. I got home and someone else made an impression on me that's how I got home. But I was doing some songwriting a few years ago, and a version of that story ended up with a song. And if you listen to Southern gospel music at all, you may know this. So this was a #1 song in Southern gospel a few years ago. And that's my little confession behind it. It goes like this. Two little boys were staring at the candy on display. One whispered to the other with a firm look away. Just put it in your pocket, no one will ever know. We'll need it all before we get back home. Well, that little boy just stared down at the candy on the shelf. You could almost hear the conversation he had with himself. Then he gave the clerk $1, took the candy and his change. Gave half to his buddy noticed how much I enjoy having conversations with older people. I am noticing that they are harder to find than they used to be. I was not prepared for that, you know. It's funny how these things kind of sneak up on you, and it certainly has me. You know, I run into people I went to school with, and I recognize them because they look like their parents looked when they were kids. You know, it's the giveaway. And I know God's got a sense of humor. This is one of my very favorite stories. You know, you can't make this stuff up. I was playing the Grand Ole Opry one night, and I'm standing in the wings, waiting to go on. I'm on next. And on stage is this young group, and I can't think of their name, but they were two girls and a guy. They're probably 30 years old, singing some big hit record, and they just crush it. You know, they sound so good. And I'm just standing here watching because I love dance. Well, they finished their song, and they're bringing them on stage, and all this applause, you know. And Pete Fisher was the manager of the Opry at the time, and he's escorting one of the young ladies on stage, and she stops. And she points right in my direction, and she leans down to Pete, and she says, I would like to meet him. Well, I heard her, so I immediately started looking around to figure out who she was pointing at. You know, I figured Vince Gill or somebody had walked up beside me, you know. But I'm standing there by myself, so Pete brings her over. I introduce myself. She says, oh, I know exactly who you are. I said, really? She's like, oh yeah, when I was like 3 years old, my grandmother used to bring me to your concerts. Was not the conversation I was expecting us to have, you know, but we got our picture made and everything. I laughed. I said, I guarantee you she can go back to the restroom and call her mom and say, you remember that old guy Grandma used to like on that? Oh, but you know, I'm grateful that I grew up when I did. You know, I grew up in a world where you come home from school, you did your chores. We ate supper together at the table as a family. After supper, you did your homework. Then if you had some time left, that time belonged to you. Well, when I had time left, I usually reached for a guitar. But if I'd been brought up in a world that offered video games and cell phones and other distractions, maybe I would have reached for something else. And it would change the direction of my whole life. So I appreciate the Lord letting me grow up when I did. I was just not prepared for how fast those years would get away. I'm the youngest member, but I'm old enough now to be included in a very exclusive club in my town. I get invited to go to the cafe in the mornings and sit at the liar's table. That's what they call it anyway. And these guys, you know, I laugh at them because these guys they're retired. I mean, they don't have to do anything. They get up earlier than they have to and drive to town and pay for coffee so they can sit at the table and insult one another. It is the strangest stuff I've ever been part of. But I love these guys. They're great storytellers, and I've got another song or two I'll share tonight where you're kind of inspired by them. But I noticed last year in some of their stories, some of the experiences that they're having, just a little hint of melancholy, and just how the world has changed so rapidly and in ways that they don't recognize. And so through some of those conversations, I wrote this song. It's just kind of irrelevant to share with you tonight. Some days my back hurts for no good reason. My hands ache when the rain is coming in. It seems I'm always looking for my glasses, or dozing in my easy chair again. I see this old man every time I'm shaving, a face that I barely recognize. It's like I'm trapped in someone else's body, and looking at the world through fading eyes. But I'm still here, I'm still me. Inside I'm still the boy I used to be. them all for granted. And now staring at the end is just surreal. 'Cause I'm still here, and I'm still me. Inside I'm still the boy I used to be. I still run and jump and climb through the meadows in my mind. How quickly did those days all disappear. But they're all gone, but I'm still here. So many of my old friends have finished up their race. There's nothing left but memories and stones. But me, I just keep moving at a little slow pace. 'Cause until the good Lord calls this old boy home, I'm still here. Oh, I'm still me. Inside I'm still the boy I used to be. I still love and hurt and cry. We're no different than you and I. How quickly did those days turn into years. But they're all gone, but I'm still here. They're all gone, I'm still here. I don't write a lot of love songs, and it's kind of, I'm not really sure why, it's not necessarily calculated. I mean, I'm really comfortable with saying I love you. I say it to, to my family and my friends, and, but I don't write a lot of love songs. But I was thinking about all the love songs. I mean, songs about our love for God and His love for us and our love for our partners or our children. But there's this void of love songs that I felt like needed to be addressed. I noticed that most of us have a best friend. Most of us have a ride or die, somebody that we can always count on. Maybe it's your brother or sister. Maybe it's your buddy from college, wherever. But the way we react to them is very different. I grew up in a house full of sisters. I will see my sisters, and if they run into a friend that they have not seen in a long time, they will squeal and they will hug and they will make this big production, just like somebody was raised from the dead. It's just this ordeal. But you can take two guys who hadn't seen each other. I'm talking about guys that love each other, guys that would take a bullet for each other, guys that haven't seen each other in a long time. They will walk up, shake hands, and one of them will say something real touching like, "Man, you got ugly." And his friend will respond with another thing like, "Well, you started out ugly." And I just think that's hilarious, because we don't talk about those emotions, even though those relationships mean a lot to us. And I thought, I want to write a song that says the things that guys would never say to each other. And so this is my love song for straight guys, I guess. But I'll share it with you. Saturday morning, sun is up. I hitch my boat to my pickup truck. Throw in some sandwiches and fish and poles. Kiss my baby and off I go. I pull up, honk and grin. You load your tackle box and you climb in. Not a cloud in this big blue sky. I couldn't feel better, even if I tried at the fish When my health is good, work's alright. I'm proud of my children and I love my wife. And I got someone to tell it to. It's good to have a friend like you. Son, it's good to have a friend like you. Yeah, it's good to have a friend like you. Nothing like a little touch and love song. I mentioned the guys that I drink coffee with in the mornings, and they're great storytellers, and I love a good story. And one of them in particular, he was our newspaper guy for a lot of years, and when he can really spin the yarn, and I love to get them going. But these guys are about a generation older than me, and so some of their growing up stories are real different from mine. Some things I remember, some that I don't. And so I wrote this song strictly as a kind of a composite of some of the things that I've heard them mention in their stories. And because I think these are kind of universal for people. And so I know the song is specifically geared to the guys, but I believe that the ladies that are here will find themselves in the song too. When we were boys, the world was our backyard. It was comic books, pen knives, and baseball cards. Hide and seek and tug of war raced you to the candy store. We didn't know what girls were for back when we were boys. When we were boys, we'd sleep beneath the stars, trade bottles and 4 nickel candy bars, floating on a little or two, skipping rocks and bending rules. Oh, the things we got into back when we were boys. We didn't realize we had it made, with a cane pole and a best friend in the shade. Supper on the stove, no bills to pay. I wish I could go back just one more day. When we were boys, we'd slam that old screen door. Each day brought new adventures to explore. Stay out till the sun was gone, till street lights started coming on. Mom would holler, y'all come home, back when we were boys. We didn't realize we had it made, with a cane pole and a best friend in the shade. Supper on the stove, no bills to pay. I wish I could go back just one more day. When we were boys, we dreamed of being grown. We would have chased that thought if we had known. Mom and Dad still young and strong, everyone was safe at home, and just a blink, it all was gone, back when we were boys. I was doing some songwriting a year or so ago, and I was thinking about the term Christian walk. You know, you've been in church circles at all, you probably stumbled across that term, something that's part of your Christian walk or someone else's Christian walk. And I laughed when I thought about it. I thought, well, it never says anything about your Christian ride. Well, that's probably, well, it makes sense, really. I mean, I realized when scriptures were written, walking was the primary means of transportation, but I still believe that's the right word, because a walk implies commitment. A walk implies perseverance, you know. If you're on a walk, you know exactly how steep them hills are. And because of that, you appreciate the flats and the downhill so much more. But it reminded me of a gentleman that I remember when I was a kid growing up. In fact, many years before I was born, he was already doing this. We had a man in our community named Mr. John L. Mays. Folks called him John L., or us kids called him Mr. John. Mr. John was a black man who was severely autistic. But Mr. John would get up every morning and walk. And first he would walk up to the hospital. He would visit with the folks in the hospital. Then he'd walk down to the nursing home and visit with the folks in the nursing home. He would end up at the funeral home, visiting with the families of the bereaved. Mr. John went to the funerals of just about everybody that passed away in my community for decades. I can't imagine the thousands of miles the man walked in his lifetime. Well, in 2017, when he finally passed away, of course, there was a huge turnout at that funeral. But after the service, and they lined up the cars to head to the cemetery, on the way to the graveyard, they drove Mr. John's route one more time, which I thought was perfect. But to this day, if you happen to go to the cemetery and you find his headstone above the dates and the name and everything, is a carved likeness of Mr. John. And at the very top of the headstone, it says, "The Walking Man." Because people who would see him, who might not know him by name, recognized him because of his commitment to that walk. And I thought, you know, if I'm going to call myself a Christian, if I'm going to proclaim to the world that I'm on this Christian walk, it is my sincere desire that when people see me who don't know me, they can still recognize me as a walking man. And so because of Mr. John and a couple other walking men that kind of changed the world, one in particular, I wrote this song. And you could find him every morning on the sidewalks of our town, rain or shine, it didn't matter. Mr. John would make his rounds. He'd be visiting the shut-ins and the county nursing home. He attended every funeral, paid respects to those gone on. One foot and then the other, step by step we stayed the course, thinking only about others, listening to the Master's voice, moving with a purpose, faithful to the plan, and focused on the mighty task at hand. He was a walking man. From Atlanta down to Selma and the streets of Montgomery, he would walk demanding that all men be treated equally. They gathered like a storm cloud, rained down on D.C., brought change to a nation with a walking preacher's dream. One foot and then the other, step by step we stayed the course, thinking only about others, listening to the Master's voice, moving with a purpose, faithful to the plan, and focused on the mighty task at hand. He was a walking man. Well, there are some who take a side, some who take a stand, but few will take the steps required to help their fellow man. Will the world be more like Mr. John and Dr. King, and the one who took that long walk up a hill called Calvary. First one foot and then the other. Step by step we stayed the course, thinking only about others, listening to his Father's voice, moving with a purpose, faithful to the land, and focused on the mighty task at hand. He was a walking man. Jesus was a walking man. One of the great gifts that God gives us as people is the ability to recall. You know, it's one of those obvious things we don't ever think about, you know, because it's something that we take for granted. But the ability to, at any given moment, turn on those mental pictures and those mental videos in your mind and revisit people and places and experiences that you wouldn't have otherwise. What a wonderful gift that is. You know, the older I get, the more I appreciate it. And I guess it's because the older I get, the larger the volume of those pictures become. When I was about 15 years old, Mom and Dad bought a farm. Dad had always wanted one, and so they sold the little house that we lived in town, and they bought this little farm. When I was 15, I was already working after school and on weekends, so I wasn't home as much. And then I turned 16, I'm driving, I'm home even less. Finally finished my schooling, and I headed to Nashville to get involved in music. And so I never got emotionally attached to the farm in the same way that I was attached to that little house. When I think about growing up, when I remember Christmases, when I remember summers growing up, it happened in that little white house on the hill there in Waverly, Tennessee. I used to drive by there now and then just to kind of reminisce. And I'd drive on the streets in the neighborhood where I used to ride my bicycle, you know. But I'll never forget one day, one afternoon I'm there, and I'm almost sitting still in the road, you know, and I'm looking at that house, and all these memories are flooding in. It's like, that's where my bedroom was, and that's where Daddy's workshop was. And it took me a minute to realize that there was a guy in the doorway of that house staring back down at me. And he didn't look near as happy that I was sitting there as I was. And I thought, well, no wonder he doesn't know me. And that's the first time it ever dawned on me that he was at home and I was the stranger. When in my heart it was always the other way around. And I thought, you know, that's one of those experiences that most of us can relate to. Most of us have a house, a home, a place in your past, in your heart, that you hold precious, even if you no longer have access to it. I mean, maybe it's where you grew up, or where your grandparents lived, or where your best friend lived, or where you lived in another town before you moved here, but it's there, and it's powerful. So that's what I love about this song. Every time I sing it, what I see in my mind is that little white house on the hill there where you live. But I know when you hear this song, it's going to take you someplace completely different. Of course, I don't know where it's going to take you, but I hope it's someplace that you hadn't visited in a while. A little wood frame house on a quiet street, the centerpiece of all my childhood memories. I drive that way every now and then to remember where I came from and who I've been. I turn down that old familiar black top. I slow You might just see shingles, windows, walls, and doors, oh, but to me, it's so much more. The little house where I was raised, surely seen its better days. Somehow it's much smaller than before. But Daddy's gone and Mama too is living by somebody new. Stranger locked behind an old screen door. Will I still go back? Will I can't go home anymore? The backyard where we tossed the ball, the mama said supper's ready, y'all. Then we joined hands and Daddy thanked the Lord. The bedroom where I dared to dream of places I had never seen, a great big world that called me to explore. And we're only back full circle to this door. Will I still go back? But I can't go home anymore. Yes, I still go back, but I can't go home anymore. I had a buddy say, man, Daryl, you sure write a lot of songs about the past. I said, have you seen the present? You know, it's funny to me because the world has changed so dramatically. You know, the way that I was brought up and the way that my parents were brought up was really not all that different, you know? I mean, I grew up like my mom did with one television in the house. It sat in the living room. We had 3 channels. We watched it all the time. Now we got a TV in every room. We have 3,000 channels. We can't find anything to watch. And when I do find something to watch, oftentimes it was actually a show that was on those 3 channels when, you know, on the first time. But I just find it funny because my children, the world they, you know, have been brought up in, they can't relate to it. My youngest son one time actually said, I'm embarrassed to tell you all this. He actually said he didn't want to use the microwave because it took too long. That is where we come to, you know. But I you know, I'm old enough now. I can say, well, back in my day, I remember when entertainment was a little harder to come by. You know, nowadays you got movies on your phone. You know, if you stop to get gas, there's a TV screen on the gas pump because you don't want to waste that 30 seconds just going to take the top off the tank. When I was a kid, one of the best gifts I ever got. My grandfather, when I was about 8 or 9 years old, gave me this little plastic transistor radio. And it was awesome. Because I discovered very quickly that if I waited after dark, when those Clear Channel AM stations started broadcasting, you know, and if the volume was low enough and Mom didn't know I had it on, you know, I could late in the night stroll that dial and listen to it. You know, I'm a huge baseball fan, so I was always hunting the game, but I discovered I could get stations everywhere from, you know, Texas all the way up to WLS, you know, Chicago. Because I was easily close enough to WSM in Nashville to get the Opry and all of those, but I was also close enough to Memphis. I could get some of those great Memphis stations, and I'd listen to shows like Red Hot Blue. And then I started discovering some other music out of Memphis. Folks like the Staple Singers and the Blind Boys from Alabama and Sister Rosetta Tharpe. You know, some of the greatest black gospel music ever recorded being blasted out of Memphis. And, you know, some of it was songs I'd never heard. Some of it was songs I knew, but, you know, arranged in a way I had never heard. And it just opened up my world to music and things that at the time I would not have had access to in the other way. And my buddy Rick Lang had a similar experience. We wrote this song. This was a #1 song a year or so ago. I got a phone call last week from the Smithsonian Magazine. Smithsonian Magazine is doing an article next year on the 70th anniversary of the transistor radio. And they wanted to talk about this song. So I want to share this with you tonight, and I'll take a little break, and I'll be out in the home to visit with you for a minute, then I'll come back and we'll share some more stories with you. It fit right in my pocket. I took it everywhere, just lace it on the window, the reception's better there. I ran my thumb across it till the station came in clear. Then I'd sing right along to the sounds that I would hear. Well, I couldn't see their faces, but I sure knew the tunes. I'd sing out loud and play pretend guitar on Mama's roof. It drew me like a lighthouse with its tiny amber glow, the best friend of my childhood, my transistor radio. From the Opry down in Nashville to the Ozark Jubilee, to the new sounds out of Motown, it all sounded good to me. Well, I sang along with Elvis and played with Bill Monroe on the stage in my bedroom and my transistor radio. All right, show of hands, who had a transistor radio? Oh, look at it, it's all over the house. Well, I learned to hear the harmony in church and Sunday school, but I practiced with Aretha when she belted Shane a Fool. And early in the morning, if I tuned in just right, I could hear that banjo picking, making rhyme to Martha White. Well, it's been so many years since those magic boyhood nights. Today I get my music beaming down from satellite. But it never quite feels like it did in those days long ago, when I heard it for the first time on that little radio. From the Opry down in Nashville to the Ozark Jubilee, to the new sounds out of Motown, it all sounded good to me. Well, I sang along with Elvis, played with Bill Monroe on the stage in my bedroom and my transistor radio. I sang along with Mace, sang with Paul Monroe on the stage in my bedroom and my transistor radio. Thank you so much.
I can remember going from my walking school to Grandma's house. Grandma's had some bakery food. That was the great part. But the other part that goes into Grandma had the only color TV in the neighborhood. We all had black and white. And what was the first show that came on TV in color? I remember the Bonanza. So stories like this are ones that Daryl continues to tell. We're going to take a little break in about 10 minutes. We have some refreshments. We'd like to have you come back, and we'll finish up the conclusion of the concert. So thank you so much for coming, and a little break, and we'll get back to see you shortly.
Just call me in on Saturday. Boss just called me in on Saturday. Mandatory overtime. He don't care that I have plans today, away from his assembly line. So I'm slipping out the side door of this same old daily grind. Don't care if I get fired today, 'cause I am in a Mayberry state of mind. Sometimes I feel like just a number, just a part of his machine, working, waiting on the whistle, getting by on hopes and dreams. But all this working and no living is not the way I am designed. I've just got to get away, 'cause I am in a Mayberry state of mind. Just a friendly game of checkers, slice of homemade apple pie, afternoon down by the river, catching up some fish to fry. Turn the volume down on living, and it won't cost you one thin dime. You can join me there today, 'cause I'll be in a Mayberry state of mind. You'll see neighbor helping neighbor, and everybody knows your name, stopping by just for a visit, and they're always glad you came. It's what we all need more of, quiet moments unrefined, a lifetime of days just like today, and the whole world in a Mayberry state of mind. Just a friendly game of checkers, slice of homemade apple pie, afternoon down by the river, catching up some fish to fry. Turn the volume down on living, it won't cost you one thin dime. You can join me there today, I'll be in a Mayberry state of mind. Instead of moving forward, let's take a few steps back in time. You may find you want to stay right here in a Mayberry state of mind. You can join me there today, I'll be in a Mayberry state of mind. He was sitting in a straight back rocker staring into space. 80 years of yesterdays were lined across his face. He took a sip of coffee and he never looked at me. He just started talking about his family. He said just beyond that meadow there's a cold running stream. Mother married Dad right there when she was 17. And Dad went to the Navy until Truman dropped the bomb, and what was left of him came home to Mom. He joined the labor union, farming on the side. Mama raised us kids, I guess that kept her occupied, because we gave her clothes for mending and hungry mouths to feed, and reasons to spend time down on her knees. It wasn't easy, but it was good. Everything we had from calluses and wood, but I'd trade all my tomorrows for one more visit through those simple barefoot summers when the good old days were new. I can close my eyes and still see us clear as day, working till the last of that old sun had bled away. And Mama cleared the table and we'd sit out on the swing. Daddy picked the guitar and we'd sing. And then Sister, she got married and moved to Birmingham. Brother joined the Navy just to be like his old man. The hands of time kept squeezing until all the life was gone, and no one left but me to carry on. It's not much of a legacy that I leave behind. At times it's held together with just baling wire and twine, but the memories float past just like a feather in the wind, and I sure would love to do it all again. It wasn't easy, but it was good. Everything we had was made from calluses and wood, but I'd trade all my tomorrows for one more visit through those simple barefoot summers when the good old days were new. Those simple barefoot summers when the good old days were new.
Well, it's a joy to be here. You know, I said that has ran through all of that. What I'm going to do today, you're not going to know the words to those. Please don't try to.
He was a Humphreys County treasure, knew everyone by name. He could stand and talk for hours on just almost anything. He'd been our local barber over 57 years, good at raising up your spirits while he's lowering your ears. I never saw him in a bad mood or without that ready smile. Sometimes late in the day, I'd stop in and talk a while. Once I asked him for his formula, his secret of life. He sat quiet for a moment, smiled again, and then replied, "The secret of life ain't no secret at all. Just keep on moving forward and get up each time you fall. Some friends that you can count on and understanding why, and a fresh hot cup of coffee, that's the secret of life." Work hard for your money, but make some time to play, and you will never miss that dollar bill that you give away. When you're at the crossroads of choosing wrong from as a pillow you'll rest easy on at night. Hard times are gonna happen, ain't nothing you can do. Just hold on to your loved ones and they'll help you make it through. Be quick to ask forgiveness, be quicker to forgive, and thank the good Lord every morning for another day to live. The secret of life ain't no secret at all. Just keep on moving forward and get up each time you fall. Some good friends you can count on, and understanding why, and a fresh hot cup of coffee, that's the secret of life. Got some friends that I can count on, and understanding why, and a fresh hot cup of coffee, that's the secret of life. This is another song from the new. Boss just called me in on Saturday, mandatory overtime. He don't care that I have plans today, away from his assembly line. So I'm slipping out the side door of this same old daily grind. Don't care if I get fired today, 'cause I am in a Mayberry state of mind. Sometimes I feel like just a number, just a part of his machine, working, waiting on the whistle, getting by on hopes and dreams. But all this working and no living is not the way I am designed. I've just got to get away, 'cause I am in a Mayberry state of mind. Just a friendly game of checkers, slice of homemade apple pie, afternoon down by the river, catching up some fish to fry. Turn the volume down on living, and it won't cost you one thin dime. You can join me there today, 'cause I'll be in a Mayberry state of mind. You'll see neighbor helping neighbor, and everybody knows your name. Stopping by just for a visit, and they're always glad you came. It's what we all need more of, quiet moments unrefined, a lifetime of days just like today, and the whole world in a Mayberry state of mind. Just a friendly game of checkers, slice of homemade apple pie, fetching up some fish to fry. Turn the volume down on living. It won't cost you one thin dime. You can join me there today. I'll be in a Mayberry state of mind. Instead of moving forward, let's take a few steps back in time. You may find you want to stay right here in a Mayberry state of mind. You can join me there today. I'll be in a Mayberry state of mind.
The world's feeling good, sitting in the shade, and even those rain slices right off the blade. Grandpa was what you might say a quiet man, but there was so much wisdom beneath that farmer's stand. I said I wanna be just like you when I'm grown. He had to be an apple, so this is all I know. Choose the road less found every time you can. Try to find the good things in your fellow man. Never hesitate to stand up for the weak, and the bigger man's the one who turns the other cheek. If you can say I'm sorry, learn how to forgive. If you've had a life well lived. Wealth is not determined by what you possess. You know a dollar bill won't buy you happiness. Take time to show others just how much you care. 'Cause love is something you have plenty of to share. No one else can tell you what your life is worth. Just thank God for the blessing of each day upon you. And choose the road less traveled every time you can. Try to find the good things in your fellow man. Never hesitate to stand up for the weak, and the bigger man's the one who turns the other cheek. If you can say I'm sorry and learn how to forgive, well, you've had a life well lived. Oh, if you can make each moment count, give more than you get, then you can turn the page with no regrets. Choose the road less traveled every time you can. Try to find the good things in your fellow man. Never hesitate to stand up for the weak, and the bigger man's the one who turns the other cheek. If you can say I'm sorry, learn how to forgive, but you've had a life well lived. If you've had a life well lived. Well, I hope you got to enjoy the break, you got your legs stretched, and you visit a little bit, maybe have a snack. I love that about small churches and just the relaxed atmosphere. I sometimes feel, I mean, I'm a product of small churches. My church is run about 30, 35 on a good Sunday. I feel sorry for people who have never had the small church experience. You know, you can't hide in a small church. You don't show up on Sunday, they instantly know you're not there because you sit in the same spot every week, you know? And then they'll start calling and worried that you're sick. They will shame you right back to church. Big church, you can lay out sometimes for weeks before they notice, you know? I have so many great memories of growing up, things that only happened in a small church. I'll never forget. Some things are frozen in your mind. I was just a teenager, and we had a preacher one Sunday who was really preaching. I mean, he was just going to shut down the corner. And he decided to go for this dramatic moment, and he reared back and slammed his fist down on the pulpit. And when he did, his false teeth come out. God is my witness. He caught him about right here and just slung him back in his mouth and kept preaching. I don't know how much longer he preached because for most of us, service ended right there. It was over with. Oh, what a great little church. I mean, I gave my life to Christ in that church. I am so grateful for that little church. But because we were small, we didn't have a lot of young people. We didn't have a lot of anybody. But when we wanted to do an event for the young people, I especially remember Vacation Bible School. We had a sister church just down the road. Blue Creek was its name. And we used to partner with the youth at Blue Creek to have Bible school or youth revivals and things. And so I spent a lot of time in Blue Creek Church too over the years growing up and going to events there. And lots of memories at Blue Creek. And well, my little church, Glenwood's still doing just fine. I'm sure my mom will be there Sunday morning. Rise and bright shine. But Blue Creek has not fared as well. I drove by it a few years ago and it was almost, I mean, right on the verge of falling down. The hunting club was meeting there once a month. That was its only purpose. In the years since now, it's been completely torn down. And it just broke my heart, you know, because I worshiped there. I remembered that place. And I see that more and more these days as I travel. Little churches that used to be the heart and soul of the community that are now sitting empty or being used in some other way. And every time I see one, it always makes me sad. I figure it probably makes the Lord sad too. And because of that, I wrote this song. The wind is on board, there's locks on the doors, the pain is now here, and chipping away, down off the highway, it's just an eyesore, people drive by, and just look away, but I still remember a time in the past, with cars in the driveway and freshly mowed grass. The church bell rings so that the neighbors could hear. Oh, I still remember the time when God lived here. On Sundays, my friend and I would ride. We'd sit on the fourth row on the piano side, sing about love, and we'd hear about grace and the joy of the road. Put a smile on my face, we'd leave at the altar our burdens and cares, and one of the brethren dismissed us in prayer. The pictures are vivid and coming so real, 'cause I still remember the time when God lived here. Springtime baptism, homecoming day, helping a stranger that passed by way. Vacation Bible school and pink lemonade. I wonder where everyone worships these days. what we once had, a sweet southern tale where God could reside until we so carelessly pushed it aside. But oh, how I wish I could turn back the clock to when its foundation was still on the rock. As I ride away, I brush back the tears, 'cause I still remember time. Oh, I still remember a time when God made me. I've always loved songs that were written from the perspective of something that could not tell its own story. I always thought that was a clever way of writing songs. And there have been some great ones over the years. There was a great song in country music a few years ago called This Old House. And it's not the Rosemary Clooney one, but it's another one. And it's actually told from the perspective of the house. The great Texas songwriter Guy Clark wrote one called Indian Head Penny. And I always wanted to write one like that, but I never could get a really good idea. Well, as you can imagine with my touring schedule like it is, I spend a lot of time in hotels. I mean, there's not much about a hotel room I can tell you. But yeah, I've been doing this for so many years. I started making it a habit years ago. And when I get in a hotel room, when I get settled in, one of the first things I do is look and see if the Bible is there. And most of the time it still is, at least in the hotels that I stay in across the country. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes there's something else there. But most of the time, the Bible is there. The Gideon organization, for many years, have taken it upon themselves to see to that, to see that there's a Bible in those hotels across the country. And I'm grateful for that. I was in a room one night, and I was actually thinking that night about that room. And the people who were in there last night. Or the people who's going to be in that room tomorrow night. What's their story? I mean, are they like me? Are they traveling for work? Or maybe they're traveling because of vacation, something fun. Or maybe they're there because of a funeral or a health issue, something that's difficult. But I was glad to know that regardless of the reason that they were there, right there within arm's reach was the Word of God. And how much comfort I had just knowing that. And so all those thoughts started running together, and that's kind of where this song came from. The Gideon organization has kind of adopted this song. I think you'll see why. There have been millions made just like me, but no two are quite the same. Each of us has stories of the lives that we've seen change. I rolled off the printing press 8 years ago last June, and someone with the Gideons placed me in this hotel room. They slid me in a table drawer between two double beds. Most often I forgot, but sometimes I do get read. But there have been hundreds, even thousands who have passed a glance at me. But the ones who took my words to heart are now forever free. The power that's within me is available to all. So when some stranger picks me up, I'm there to heed the call. Whatever you are seeking for today and evermore, it's pressed upon my pages. I'm the Bible in the drawer. There was a man from Indiana, lost in drugs and deep despair. He had just about his thought when he saw me laying there. He picked me up and started reading, found his place in heaven's plan. The next morning when he checked out, he walked out a different man. A young runaway from Dallas who had stopped in for the night. Out of money, food, and options when she saw me in the light. Jesus offered her the peace that she had craved but never found. Called home and soon heard her mom and dad in Sheba, Texas found. A brand new story walks into my room most modern technology, we can go to Skype or Zoom or whatever and just sit there and talk to one another. And I told him one day, I said, if you'd have told me when I was a kid that we'd be doing this, I think I was the Jetsons. You know, we living out the Jetsons. And then we got to talking about all the changes, you know. When I was a kid, when many of you were children, you would never call somebody on the phone. And when they answered, ask them, where are you? Because you knew where they were. You probably knew what room they were in, because that thing was nailed to the wall. Where else could they be, right? We do that all the time now. But we were talking about things that we remembered that we don't see anymore. And I remembered that when I was a kid, I had 3 distinct types of clothes. I had school clothes, I had church clothes, and I had what Mom called everyday clothes. And there were very strict rules about these clothes. You come home from church, you take off your church clothes, put your everyday clothes on, you know, or your play clothes, whatever you get. But you had to put your church clothes back on before service. Monday, same way. You come home from school, you get your school clothes on, you put on your everyday clothes before you start your chores. That was the rules. And I don't hear that term much anymore, you know. But that conversation kind of led to this song. If you listen to the Enlightened channel on Sirius XM, they've been playing this song quite a bit. And so I'm going to share this with you now. The morning sun chasing the darkness away. The birds sing sweetly to welcome the day. I sit on the porch with my coffee in hand and know I'm a fortunate man. The flowers are blooming, their colors explode, their beauty encircles my heart full of gold. The soft scent of lilac is filling the air and lingering close like a prayer. Everyday blessings get taken for granted and oft overshadowed because they seem small. But here in a world full of mystery and wonder, everyday blessings are the greatest of all. A smile from a stranger, a friendly hello, a call from a friend when you're feeling low, the radio playing your favorite song, and you can't help singing along. Everyday blessings get taken for granted and oft overshadowed because they seem small. But here in a world full of mystery and wonder, everyday blessings are the greatest of all. We tend to thank God for moving the mountains and calming the storms on our seas. Oh, while He's raining down I'm grateful that I grew up in a world where I did not realize that church attendance was optional. I mean, when I was a kid, you'd waste your breath if you got up on Sunday and said, do I have to go to church today? You might as well just double down and say, can I skip school tomorrow too? Because you're going to get the same answer. But I'm grateful for that. That formed the foundation of my life. I have often said that I know how blessed I am because I grew up in a world where I knew about Jesus until I was old enough to know him. So there's never really been a time in my life when I was not aware of God's love for me and his desire for me. And that just changed everything. My mom, in typical mom fashion, was worried when I started pursuing music as a vocation because she heard terrible things about the music industry. And she was worried that I might get pulled into some of that. But, for the most part, I haven't. I can confess to you tonight, by the grace of God, I've never been drunk. I've never taken drugs. I've been able to miss all of that and give God the glory. But the flip side of that is I don't have one of those really cool testimonies either. Yeah, I love those, don't you? Somebody that God has just pulled right out of the hog pen like the prodigal son, and they're out doing great things, for the Lord, and they've got this really dramatic before and after story. I have nothing like that. I can tell you about when I was in high school and God delivered me from my struggles with algebra. That's about as dramatic as it goes, But, when you're walking with the Lord, it's a daily exercise, and we don't always exercise as much as we should. There's parts of our personality that sometimes kind of lags back, and there's something that bothers me. It has always bothered me. I need to be more patient with it. I struggle with it, and I'm not. And so one Sunday morning, out of pure frustration, I sat down and I wrote a song about it. But the funny thing was, once I started touring and singing this song, I can usually tell if there's anybody else here who has the same struggle. And the reason I can tell is because your friends will sell you out. I've sung this song, and I've seen people nudge. I've seen people look, get that neck stretch thing, I've seen people point and not even being subtle about it. But I never do this song to call anybody out. But those of us that know this struggle, this song is especially for you. Well, if I, let's go to the, we're going to raise it up just a step there. Well, if I come in late on one, I know my boss won't say a word. 'Cause he knows what it's like getting kids to school and then hustling on into work. And if I come home late for dinner, I know my baby will keep it warm. But man, I hate when we run late to church on Sunday morning. Well, it happens every Sunday, no matter how hard I try. I just can't get the family into church by 9:45. As we pull into the parking lot, that choir singing loud and sweet. And I'm faced again with the same dilemma that we faced just last week. Well, maybe sneaking through the back door, maybe sit in the balcony. Or we can wait till their heads are bowed in prayer, slip in and hope no one sees. Or we can act like we're in a shoe, walk in as they pass the plate. Or the lengths we'll go, so no one knows once again we're running late. Now we can hide in the foyer with our ear pressed to the door. Or maybe squat down in the back street. We've done that a time or two before. I've even thought about pulling the fire alarm, just mingling as they walk back in. Head to the altar and promise the Lord I'll never be late again. Or we can sneak into the back door, maybe sit in the balcony. Or we can wait till their heads are bowed in as we get older, the things that we place value on change. A few years ago, when my dad passed away, after Dad passed away, there was a lady in town who took some of Dad's shirts rather, and sewed them into a quilt. And my mom loves that quilt, and she proudly displays it in the house. But I was looking at it one day and thinking, you know, before Dad passed, them shirts, that was just another load of laundry. Perspective is different now. After Dad died, Mom asked me, she said, you know, your dad's got these tools and things. Is there anything that you want? I said, yes, ma'am. There's one thing I'd love to have. And it was Dad's old baseball glove. And it looks like something the dogs drew. But it's the one he used when he and I used to play catch. And it's priceless to me. I grew up seeing one that my mom had. All the years I was growing up, on the bookcase at home, Mom kept a Bible that belonged to her grandmother. Always opened up to the 23rd Psalms, and on top of that Bible, she kept her grandmother's eyeglasses. That was there all the years I can remember. Well, after Dad passed, Mom finally sold the farm, and she bought a little house in town. And once she got it all set up, that's one of the first things I noticed. It was on the fireplace now, but there it was, the Bible still opened up, eyeglasses still on. Well, Mom had lived there about a year when our little town was hit with a catastrophic flood. One of those things that just should never happen. We had about 19 inches of rain that fell in one morning. Fourth of our annual rainfall. It just kept raining. So all the rivers and the creeks were empty now. But there's a train track that runs right parallel to Main Street. Been there since the Civil War. And it sits about 15 feet above town level. And a lot of that water pooled in behind it, and it held it back like a levee as long as it could, until the amount of it and the weight of it was just too great. And it finally pushed through the tracks, and this wall of water come rushing into downtown. There's actually video footage that's still on YouTube of people in town who went from no water in their yard to 6 feet of water in their house in 9 minutes. It was horrific. We had 20 people tragically killed that morning, several of them children. We had 272 homes completely destroyed. The force of that water was coming in so great, it was shoving houses, pushing them off their foundations and running them into one another. Mom made it out with about 5 minutes to spare, by the grace of God. Well, when the waters finally receded and we got into her house to see if there's anything left, not much was. The waters had pushed the windows out. Most of her material things had been washed away. Well, I looked on the fireplace, and of course the Bible was gone, and that didn't surprise anybody. But as we started moving things around to see if there was anything salvageable, on the far side of the living room, we found the Bible. Somehow, through all that chaos, it had traveled from the fireplace all the way across the room and was laying up against the wall on this little table. The eyeglasses were still on it. Now, the back half of her house had been ripped away, gone. House next door was gone. House across the street gone. Cars and trucks moving down Main Street like they were plastic. That same force of water gently picked up that Bible in those glasses, carried it across the room, and laid them carefully again on the table. Only a living God can do that. And it could not have been more clear to me if he thumped me upside the head that morning. Just this gentle reminder that, you know, I'm here in the hardest, in the most catastrophic moments of your life. I am here. And I've drawn comfort from that ever since. And it was not long after all that I remembered this song. And I say remembered because about a little over a year before the flood, I woke up one night in the middle of the night and the lyrics of this song were just right there. Now, I had never written a song in my sleep before. But I knew that if I went back to sleep, I'd forget it. I wouldn't recall it. So I grabbed my phone and I recorded the words into my phone. And got up the next day, I put a melody to it and finished the song, recorded it. Actually became a #1 song. But for me, the two events will always be related. And I hope this will trigger a memory or two for you as well. I want to share it with you tonight. It's called Mama's Bible. The services were over, most everyone's gone. Friends were there, condolences for a mom who passed on. Hardly tired, hardly true, I sat down in her chair, and on the table right beside her, I found her Bible there. I picked it up and held it just the way I'd seen her do. And then I ran my thumb across it and I flipped the pages through. Now that's when I started seeing the little pieces of her past she placed between the pages just to make the moments last. Not too far into Genesis, I found a faded rose, one she saved from her bridal flowers, I suppose. Because right there beside it was an old warm black and white of my mama holding roses and my daddy smiling bright. I found an old church program between Judges and Ruth from the Sunday I got baptized back in my days of youth. And over in Hosea I found a lock of hair, not sure who it belonged to or why she kept it there. I noticed there in Proverbs a page was torn and dry. I knew that it was from the tears that my sweet mama cried. They fell on the verse about training up a child as he should go. And I knew that she'd been praying because she loved us so. I found a family picture taken on a Christmas day, the last one we had together before Daddy passed away. And she placed his obituary by the 3rd chapter of John, and I knew how much she missed him in the days since he'd been gone. All through the book I found them little treasures tucked away, milestones on the road of life, memories that she saved. To read kids unknown vow we say to a mother and a wife, whose family and Savior were the center of her life. I closed it and returned it to that table by the chair. I sat for a moment longer and said a silent prayer. I thank God for such a mama and the memories that I hold, more precious now than rubies, more valuable than gold. More precious now than rubies, more valuable than gold. Well, thank you so much for coming out tonight and sharing the evening with me and allowing me to be up this way. I do appreciate it. I do covet your prayers. You know, I'm on the road a lot. I average driving about 5,000 miles a month. And I'm a good driver, but some of those folks out there are not. You know, so I appreciate you praying for me. Pray for them too, if you don't mind. But, no, I have a website. It's just my name, DarylMosley.com. My schedule is on there. And up to date, you can kind of keep an eye on where I'm at. And if you do the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, I have those. And you're welcome to friend me or follow me on there. Something you guys already have. And I post lots of pictures of where I'm at and where I'm traveling, so you're welcome to follow those if you like. I want to share one more song with you. I rarely do a concert, but I don't do this song. This song changed my life in ways that I didn't expect, you know. As a songwriter, you don't always realize when you've got something special. You know, you just don't know. There have been times I've written a song and I finished and I thought, well, this right here, this is going to be a day again. And you record it and it just kind of leaves there. Then there's songs like this. I was driving back from North Carolina. I wrote this song in the middle of the night. Put it on the demo with 2 other songs. I did not think this was the best one of the 3. What did I know? Because in the years since this song has been out, this song has literally been around the world. It won every award it could win. It's been streamed billions of times. It made the list as one of the top gospel songs of all time. There's a simple Southern gospel versions. That was the original hit. There are country gospel versions, bluegrass gospel versions. There's a black gospel version of this song. I've heard this song sung by a praise and worship choir from Jamaica. I've heard it sung by a youth choir from South Africa. And rarely does a week go by that somebody will come up to me with some story of how the song ended up in their life. I got an email a few months ago from a guy who was just about to go in for major surgery. He wanted me to know that he had made arrangements with the hospital and with his surgeon. He was going to have this song played on a loop while he was in surgery. God forgive me, but the first thing I thought was, I hope that's not one of them 10-hour surgeries. Because you're going to be asleep. But your surgeon is going to know every word of this thing by the time that comes over. But it just, it meant that much to him, and that blessed my heart. I appreciate that. I've had so many people that I have met because of this song. Because of this song, I met Mr. Bill Gates. Now that's songwriting royalty as far as I'm concerned. I mean, Mr. That's the man, that's the hand that held the pen that really touched me. And because he lives, and so many others. He and I were together one afternoon just sitting talking songs. And he said something I'll never forget. He said, Daryl, sometimes the message of Jesus can find its way on the wings of a song when it can't get there any other way. When an evangelist can't bring it, when a missionary can't bring it, when a government outlaws it. Sometimes on the wings of a song, it'll still find its way. And he smiled and he said, that's how important songs about Jesus are. Moments like that I'll never forget. So it's always an honor to get a chance to sing this song. I'll be forever grateful that God allowed me to be part of the pipeline that brought this thing into the world. If you've been around gospel music at all, you might have heard it somewhere along the way. But this is pretty close to what it sounded like that very first time. Coming home from North Carolina, the mountain song is born. I was working in town one afternoon, attending some business affairs. I heard a commotion a couple streets over. I wondered what was happening there. A young man was running from in that direction. He stopped just to catch his breath. Oh, I asked him to please tell me what was the hurry.
Another hand for Daryl. Boy, time flies, isn't it? It goes quick. Well, we've come to the end of our concert. I want to thank you so much for coming this evening. Hope you've enjoyed it. You can pick up some of Daryl's music, his book, right after the service. A couple announcements we wanted to make. There's a free will offering which covers some of the cost of this concert. We'd appreciate anything, a gift of what you can, check. We can even do credit cards if needed. Couple of announcements as far as we're going to have on November 6th a blood drive. You saw the sign out front. This is open to the public. We usually get 10 to 15 people, so there's one thing to keep in mind. November 30th, we're going to have a Christmas concert here. And pick up a flyer. Jamie Kimmett will be here, and it will be from 4 till 5, and it will be Christmas. So it's a great time to welcome in that time of the year right after Thanksgiving. If you're looking for a home church, and this might be the one that you're thinking of, there's a blue card in the seating area that you can find. If there's a prayer that you wished for us to pray over, please fill that out. One last thing, this road has just been reopened or will be reopening next week. One problem though is it's a one-way for now. So if you're leaving, the best way to go without running into anybody is to take a left and go north if you're exiting or heading that direction. Otherwise, you can take the Putes Road exit as you may have come in. But that road is open, but it's 13th Street and it will run to Drexel. And if you take a left, you can get right back on the expressway. So we don't want to see anybody hurt on the way home. Let's close with a prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for the gift of music and the ministry of song through Daryl Mosley. May we today bring glory to your name and great joy to all those in attendance and those who will view this concert online. Let this music ministry raise us up to share this experience with others and make us stronger in our own faith. We say together, Amen. Amen. Good night, safe travels, and thanks again for coming. Hopefully, think about the 30th of November for the Christmas concert.
Now forever free. The power that's within me is available to all. So when some stranger picks me up, I'm there to heed the call. Whatever you are seeking for today and evermore, it's pressed upon my pages and the Bible in the drawer. I'd be slinging gravel somewhere on my way